Hello, I'm Mark Baer. You're watching the YourTown television program. My guest, Juan Sanchez, Palenke Arts. Welcome. And so before cameras are rolling, we're already in our conversation, but we might as well now bring in the audience. But let's talk about what Palenke is and how this has been.
Yeah, so first of all, thanks so much for having me again. This is so much fun. I think you are not just an amazing artist of your own, but also somebody who really gets to uplift the voices of others and other stories. And it's my pleasure to be here. Try to share with you a little bit about Palenke and your viewers. Palenke Arts is a multicultural arts center in the heart of Seaside. We've been in operation for 5 years. We're a full nonprofit. We serve about 140 folks every week, mostly youth under the age of 10, because we're inside the Martin Luther King School of the Arts campus. And we also, we teach 13 different art disciplines, from visual arts to hip hop dance, film to Latin jazz. But we also host community events. We host world music concerts, healing arts workshops, and family arts programs. So there's 5 areas of work, and we do it all out of a renovated locker room space in Seaside, and of course through the virtual environment, because during the pandemic we had to develop, a whole online presence.
So let's first of all talk about you, because who you are is a lot about what you imagine Palenke to be. A little bit about your
my background.
Yeah, a little bit about your background.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Malaga, Spain, the birthplace of Pablo Picasso. I come from a long line of artists and musicians. I'm a conservatory trained violinist, very poor violinist, but I started with music when I was 5. Performed for casual gatherings at the age of 6 and 7. And I always had music and in art as part of my life. I actually managed also to record and had my own world music ensemble. We toured the US, Canada, in Spain. And in all this work, I always had in my heart, it's like, when I would go to visit a special place, it's like, wow, I could imagine if we could do this back home. And with the families and the communities that I know. And I've been here in the Monterey Peninsula for 30 years. My first church was in St. Francis Xavier in Seaside. And there I met a lot of musicians and folks who really were thirsting for a gathering place, a place where they could, even sing in Spanish, which might sound stupid, right? Like, oh, why can't you sing in Spanish? Well, it's like there's no venues for it, How about learning about mariachi or folklorico, etc. So for me, going out and my own training, my own family, my kids are all musicians. They've been with the Monterey Jazz Festival at some point or another. I wanted to share my privilege and my wealth of culture and experiences with the larger community of Seaside. And that's how this project got started. That, and of course, a big equity in the arts piece. Because another big part of my life, it's not just the arts, it's also education and civic engagement. I really feel that this Palenke Arts is a project where we're really addressing larger societal issues and creating community with the medium of the arts. And it's pretty powerful work, I think. We've been at it for 5 years officially, but in the dream stages, of course, a lot longer.
So I wanted people to know a little about you, because what Palenke has is a striving for excellence. It's not a
social club, or
it's not this, or it's not, it's not for the, it is for the underserved, it is for all these things, but it's also a demand of excellence and a demand that, and particularly a celebration of first generation Americans, which it's closer to is so close to the American dream.
Right.
So you make people dream big, but you're also demanding, and you're demanding of a certain excellence, and you've been able to draw, you know, amazing people to you to come.
Right.
You know, and that's why, you know, I don't go there to do good. I go there because I expect great.
Right.
You know, and I think that's a very different thing.
Wow. Well, first of all, thank you for catching that. And I actually will kind of like battle that the whole concept that all we're looking for is excellence at all time. And I strive for excellence in the whole design and the complexity of the design of Palenke Arts, because we have experiences where the threshold level is very low. Like family art days, we have 2-year-olds and 3-year-olds doing art with somebody from Oaxaca, and the mom is there, the teenager is there, and the 3-year-old is there. And for me, that moment is magical. I do not expect that 3-year-old to create a masterpiece, but for that level of experience is incredible. It's really the magic sauce of what we do. Now, when we have our chorus or our ballet folklorico class, or we have our piano classes, or we have our Latin jazz group, I expect them to do basically portfolio type assessment. And it comes in the form of performances, galleries, you know, showcases in which you get to prove to the world that you worked your butt off, that you are doing this on a regular, that you practice on your own, you know, that you have that kind of a discipline. So we're very much discipline based, and a lot of people that are in the arts, you know that you have to work, fail sometimes, but continue to persevere. They understand that striving for excellence, and I'm not taking anything away from those ones, but for me, it's the experience, the full experience that really becomes truly magical.
Yeah, and again, with work, with a demand for, you know, in the arts, excellence and work and showing up and really doing the labor makes the magic.
Yes.
You know, and where there is magic, there is magic.
Oh yeah.
And I've seen it there. So it's
thank you.
You know, and you make it look easy. And my biggest criticism of you is always don't be too selfless.
Oh.
You know, because it's a kind of thing where you can disappear yourself into the bigger picture.
Right.
And I think I've always said make sure that you're getting your work done, and because that you being more selfless doesn't lift the boat.
Right.
You know, strangely, it's counterintuitive.
Yeah.
But you understand what I'm saying.
I totally understand. And by the way, my children say that. They say, Dad, what are you talking about? Palenke Arts is like, you know, this little project is like, you had Grammy Award winners presented on your stage, Emmy Award winners. You have, you know, the first community event at Dia de los Muertos that was celebrated with, you know, just a community altar that occupied a huge space, bringing people together. Don't be so humble in a way, right? But I don't see it as that. I see that my way is a facilitator.
Yeah.
And I really would love to, and this is something that I will share with you, in my heart of hearts, if I was to choose, I would love to get our little arts organization to a place where I can say to somebody, here are the keys, you know, everything is set up, you continue it, you move forward with your vision and so on. We started with a solid foundation, solid values, solid work ethic, solid team, board, volunteers, all the pieces, right, that come together to create something really magical. And, you know, somebody else can take it on. It's not just a Juan Sanchez special, you know, otherwise, because those projects die. Right. The messianic concept of an organization is very tempting, but I don't believe in that.
It's very, you as an artist is important, you as an ego isn't important. So these are very subtle things that that you get into over time, because you know, some things do have to stay and some things do have to
Yeah.
fall away. It's complex.
Yeah, and
Let's talk about what I saw last week with the
Dia de los Muertos event.
Dia de los Muertos,
Yes.
because it was beautiful. So
thank you.
go for you tell the audience what you did, and I'll talk about what I saw.
Right. So for me, I wanted to, we're in a time of loss, right? In many ways, from personal loss of people who've passed on, like my own father dying of COVID in December. Many members of our communities and families, our kiddos and our families were trapped inside. And for somebody who might have a huge backyard and can walk around and feel okay, it wasn't so difficult to cope with this thing. But kids who are stuck in a 1-bedroom apartment, 5 people or 7 people in 1-bedroom apartment, is a big deal. So coming out of that, to actually connect with the tradition of Dia de los Muertos, where we're remembering those who passed, for me it was really important to actually make this a healing event. And what we did is we planned family art days where we met for 3 Saturdays in October with a Oaxacan lady who is an artisan and an artist, Carmen Mexicano, and we had like 30 folks in there just creating art that was going to be part of our community ofrenda. In the meantime, our chorus was preparing a traditional songs in Spanish, La Llorona, Amor Eterno, songs that really connect with Dia de los Muertos tradition when people pass or you celebrate those who pass on. And our dancers had a Oaxacan tune that they danced to, La Llorona, and we put it all together with face painters, with food, with people in the community. We have Illusions of Grandeur, Leslie Johnson donated Cempasúchil, the traditional marigolds. So we had actually a lot of folks that really wanted to make this a community event where we came together. The arts was at the center, and there was true magic because we had surprises along the way. Folks who didn't know that we existed found us, and they came up to me and said, this was very touching, very transformative. We've never seen anything like this in this setting at the Oldemeyer Center.
Let's talk about how you got to the Oldemeyer Center, because
Yes.
that was important.
Right. One of the things that is happening this year with the city, and I really want to give credit to the council and the mayor, Mayor Oglesby, and the council. They're betting on Palenke Arts, which is really an amazing thing. They are like, whatever ideas we have is like, how do we uplift you, and how can we fund funding for you, and so make our lives easy. So they put that facility, they voted on, to give it to us pretty much rent free, which was super powerful, and they gave us all flexibility in what kind of event we wanted to do. All credit to them. Councilman Garcia Razola and Councilman Pacheco were at the event themselves. So I felt like the city really made it possible. And we also, because of COVID, we could not do it at a small facility at the Martin Luther King School of the Arts, which is a small place that can fit, with COVID rules, about 60 people. This was a much larger event.
Well, what I saw was genuine, authentic, rooted in deep tradition. It wasn't commercial. The face painting, the costumes, and how noble, I guess for a better word, everybody who was painted or costumed, how they felt, these young kids, how empowered they were in that tradition. It's so uplifting to see something genuine.
Yes.
Let's talk about your needs, because our time is going to.
Yes.
The other thing I saw is Palenke does better with more space.
Yes.
Bigger is better.
In our case, absolutely it is.
You've developed to bigger.
Right.
In other words,
we've outgrown our space, and we serve 140 folks a week, and we are, because of COVID rules, of course, we cannot pile on top of each other like we used to. We used to have, in our little office, we used to have digital arts classes and recording and piano, while the hip hop dances. Well, I don't want to pack a bunch of kids in a little office.
Yeah.
So we are actually need a bigger space, and that's kind of like in our strategic plan for our board. We have identified that we need a little bit more staff, to manage everything that we do right now, the present level, but we also need a larger space. And I would love. We're looking in the community. The council is looking for us. The school district. We just had a meeting with Dr. Betty Lusk, but I'm actually meeting also with commercial real estate folks. Try to figure out, is there an unused facility, a place that we could perhaps refurbish and perhaps rent initially at a lower rates, because we're right now trying to get into a larger space and enhance it so our community can gather together like they did the other night. Like, we don't have to, because imagine if we have 140 kiddos and each one brings like 3-4 family members, the numbers are huge. And I feel like we need some flexibility to present, to run programs, to have perhaps separations, a place where we can have a piano class at the same time that we had a visual arts studio, perhaps that we can have a dance studio. And I know that our forever home is probably many, many, many years away, but our in-between home, we're hoping it's anywhere between 12 months to 18 months away. And that's where we're headed, and we need everybody's help. We need, if you're listening.
Give the website a couple of times.
So the website is palenkearts.com or palenkearts.org. We have, of course, we're part of Monterey County Gives. I'll be remiss to say that Monterey County Gives starts tomorrow. We can receive funds through there, but if you're wanting to help us get to the next stage, I would love to sit down with any of you that are really passionate about the arts and uplifting our communities. I was reflecting 2 days ago. I had to write a letter to the city panel, and explaining why this is so important. And I was thinking, 95%, I would say, it's a fair estimate, or 98% of the people that I serve would never be able to fill out an application for a grant, would never be able to go to a meeting in the language that is presented, because we serve mostly immigrant families that are a lot stronger in Spanish than in English, and many of them that do not have like a college degree. And for me, I could see that as a burden, but it's a privilege. And I really would love to bring more people to the table. I will also share with you that we're looking for board members. And so if you're out there, I would love to hear from you.
I think we've done it.
Awesome.
I'm Mark Baer. I'm with Juan Sanchez. We're talking about Palenke Arts. It's a fabulous program. It's a great program. It's an uplifting program. It's an important program.
Thank you so much.
Anyway.
Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, we're making noise. Cool, man.
Thank you, Mark.
And we're out of here.